After the presidential elections, we have Donald Trump as the U.S. president. Because of this, tensions are brewing between Beijing and Washington. China is planning to tighten its grip on the export of technology needed to process materials essential for the electric vehicle industry. You may say it's a good strategy, but this move could have a big impact on the future of electric vehicles across the globe. In fact, it's being viewed as another step in the growing technology rivalry between China and the United States. But why is China imposing these restrictions? And how could it be another step in the rivalry between these two countries? Let's find the answers and see what the experts have to say on this. China stands as a powerhouse in the EV world, especially when it comes to lithium, the key ingredient powering EV batteries. However, there's a twist. While demand for lithium keeps skyrocketing, supply is lagging far behind. And this is not something we are spilling out without backing it up. Experts from the International Energy Agency warn that by 2035, only about 50% of the world's lithium needs will be met. To tackle this, China has decided to tighten its rules on exporting the technology used to process lithium. But why? Well, Chinese officials believe this is a smart move to stay in control of their resources and maintain their dominance in lithium processing, which they already lead by handling 70% of it globally. However, there was an important thing that made China impose these restrictions. This decision comes after the United States placed its own limits on exports, and China wants to respond with its own measures. By tightening its grip on lithium processing technology exports, China aims to hold on to its strong position in the global battery supply chain. However, there's a catch. This move might create challenges for Chinese EV companies within their own country. Still, China wants to take things up a notch by planning to add battery cathode technology to its list of controlled exports. According to a recent notice from the Commerce Ministry, they're thinking about tightening export restrictions not just on technology for processing lithium and gallium, but also on this essential tech for making EV batteries. These changes could be part of China's next wave of export controls, aimed at holding on to critical materials and the know-how to dominate industries like semiconductor and EV battery production. The thing is that if approved, this bold move could completely reshape the global supply chain, and it might just catch the rest of the world by surprise. When asked about the proposal during a regular press conference on Friday, Mao Ning, a spokesperson for the Foreign Ministry, said, "What we can tell you as a principle is that China implements fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory export control measures. This means that China is confident in its decision to impose these restrictions and believes it is necessary to secure its dominance in the EV industry." Another important thing to note here is that this plan came just a month after China completely banned the sale of several materials that are essential for making semiconductors and other advanced tech. These materials like gallium, germanium, and antimony are sometimes called super hard materials because of their importance in high-tech industries. However, as we said earlier, this bold move from China wasn't out of the blue. It was a response to new rules from the U.S., introduced by the Biden administration, that tightened export controls on U.S.-made semiconductors. So, what will this latest proposal mean for the future? According to Liz Lee, an associate director at Counterpoint Research, this move could be seen as a way to use resources as a weapon to gain an advantage. She explained to CNN that it might act as a bargaining tool, especially when Trump is now the president. She further said that if this plan is carried out, it could significantly strengthen China's dominance in the battery world, especially by boosting its EV battery supply chain. This could lead to serious challenges for Western lithium producers. Many of them rely on Chinese technology to process lithium, a key ingredient for making battery cathodes. Depending on how strict these export controls are, it might become a major hurdle for these producers, giving China an even bigger advantage in the global EV market. Next, we have another person, Adam Webb, who is the head of battery raw materials at Benchmark Mineral Intelligence. He shared that China's new plan to restrict imports of EV materials could help the country keep a strong hold on lithium processing worldwide. Right now, China processes about 70% of the world's lithium, and this proposal might make it easier for them to maintain that dominance. This could give China an even bigger role in controlling key parts of the electric vehicle market. He quoted, These proposed measures would be a move to maintain this high market share and to secure lithium chemical production for China's domestic battery supply chains. Now, here's something that most of you might not know. Every EV battery needs about 8 kilograms or 18 pounds of lithium to function. That's a lot, right? This makes lithium an incredibly vital resource as the world shifts toward greener energy. With global demand for EVs soaring, any new rules or restrictions on lithium extraction technology could have a huge impact. These limitations could slow down production or make it harder for some countries to get what they need, especially if they're already depending on others, like China, for processing. And let us remind you again about experts saying that by 2035, only about 50% of the world's lithium needs will be met. If we look at the numbers, the future of lithium demand is nothing short of astonishing. Global demand for lithium-ion batteries is predicted to skyrocket in the next decade. Just think about this. Back in 2022, the world needed approximately 700 gigawatt hours of these batteries. Fast forward to 2030, and that number is expected to leap all the way to 4,700 gigawatt hours. That's more than 6 times the amount. Considering the predictions and the possible challenges ahead, Liz Li was of the view that Chinese policymakers will need to think carefully about how their decisions impact the global goals of China's EV and battery companies. If they decide to add restrictions, it might lead to countries in the West responding with their own limits or actions. For example, BYD produces its own batteries and is quickly growing its business around the world. On top of that, CATL, which is the largest battery maker globally, supplies 40% of the EV battery market. Decisions made in China could ripple across the entire industry, affecting both supply chains and international relationships. Alongside all of this, China's Commerce Ministry made another bold move by adding 28 U.S. companies and entities to its export control list for the very first time. This list includes big names like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon Missiles and Defense, two major defense contractors. This decision could shake things up in a big way, affecting trade and possibly creating more tension between the U.S. and China. It highlights how interconnected businesses around the globe are, and how one country's policies can influence industries everywhere. So, this was everything about China imposing restrictions on EV materials. We tried to cover almost all aspects of this bold move, and we hope you found it informative. You saw what these restrictions mean, how they might impact the global EV industry, and what experts think about them. The future of electric vehicles and lithium demand is certainly uncertain right now, but one thing is for sure. China will continue to play a major role in shaping this rapidly growing market. Let us know in the comments what you think about this latest development and how it might affect the future of electric vehicles. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up to show us some support. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be bringing you the latest updates on the automotive industry and much more. Goodbye.